Good evening, friends. Good evening, Stepstone YouTube viewers, and no Stepstone to all the well wishers and those who are watching today. Welcome you all for this webinar. To give an insight or knowledge about this webinar, we are now with Mr. Amit. Before getting introduction about Amit, I just want to share why this topic was there. What is the mindset of millennials today? We have millennials. What is the mindset they have about the real estate? We call millennials as 90 plus born 1990 born after 1990, we call them as millennials. Okay, what is the mindset they have today in respect to investing in real estate? So whether they want to buy in a property or they want to rent a property, there is a long debate, going on all different forums actually. So we thought, we just want to address this, debate in a positive manner, and we want to give a very good insight knowledge about this. Whether they have to buy in a property, because they have a lot of confusion. There are different set of parameters we're talking about buying versus renting in different platforms. So we want to give a clear picture. So once we decided about the topic, we thought, no, Mr. Amit only will be the right person to address this. So we just requested him to share knowledge about this, and magnanimously is accepted for the same. Thank you, Amit, for joining with us. Thank you for accepting our invite and joining with us, and enlightening our YouTube viewers and people on buying versus rental. With this, we welcome Amit for joining today and giving insight knowledge. Welcome you again on behalf of all.
Yes, first of all, Motesh, thank you for the opportunity. Very, very kind of you to actually think about me and actually remember me. And you are an expert in actually budget housing yourself. So I'm always impressed by actually Motesh. And you are a real estate guru. So for me it is an honor and a privilege to be selected by you and to be able to speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, what you feel now? What is the mindset of millennials today have? Okay, with when they think about real estate investment, what's coming up in their mind? How you see this?
Right. So when we speak about millennials, we speak about Gen Y and Gen Z. So there was a Generation X. I belong to Generation X, which is a 1960 to 1980, and then you have a Generation Y, which is a 1980 to a 1997. Like the late 90s, and then you have the Gen Z, which is more like a 97 and beyond. So why this differentiation? It is actually because all of these generations had different formative years and highly different upbringing trends, which have been driven by actually technology. So that's what actually defines the millennial. I would just request the participants if they can mute themselves. That'll help. Yes. So it is actually because of the internet age, the coming of the internet age. It's about the socio-economic experiences that have been through. It's about differences in the formative years. So that is first what is the millennial. Further going to what is it that millennials like to do in actually real estate. First is they are used to experiencing first and actually then buying later. Millennials don't really feel highly accomplished by buying an apartment. I feel very safe and secure. I was taught by my father and grandfather that you actually invest in a home to keep yourself safe and secure. But millennials believe in actually nuclear families. They travel a lot. They travel on study. They travel on work. They are willing to move continuously if the salary is higher, if there's a growth in their work. They actually have varying locations, so they don't want to commit themselves to actually one property in actually one place. So basically millennials are also looking at co-living initially, and they are highly functional. They have so many other expenses. They actually like to go to bars and pubs, so they don't want to spend heavily on a big home, maintaining it, taking care of it. They like things that are easy to manage. Now, millennials are a kind of audience that will buy real estate as an investment option. Investment in terms of giving them returns. That is how they actually like to be. They actually like to be commitment free. They don't like tensions of EMIs very early in their life. They're willing to take it up a little bit later. They actually believe in enjoying a property with all its amenities, getting familiar, along with the neighborhood. So ideally, they first like to rent, stay for about 11 months. If they actually like it, they'll continue. They may end up buying, so on and so forth. So on and so forth. So basically, millennials are people who are looking to buy smaller compact homes as an investment and willing to stay in a different home for their lifestyle.
Okay. Is this right? Actually, say for example, what I'm just seeing post COVID. Actually, even there is a mind shift in the millennials. Okay,
Yes,
we've realized since during this COVID, everyone was living at a home. They felt more importance about owning in a home rather than
very
even
true.
those who are living in co-living spaces were no or went out. They were moved. They have to necessary because government has said any institutions should not be there. It should not be. It should be closed. So all the PG or co-living spaces all vacated and they moved to native, or if they have a own house, they have stayed at the own house. Are you
Yes,
seeing
yes.
post COVID that mindset has been changed or something kind of like
So
they
to
want to
first
buy in a home
address,
like this?
correct. So to first address, see, post-COVID, we'll just come to post-COVID, shortly. Like I explained, the mindset of a millennial. Now, the main topic here is buying versus renting,
Yeah.
right? So first let us address, why should you buy a home? First thing is that all of us realize now post-COVID that a home is a place of safety and security. Nothing can match your own home. Today we have realized that work from home is a reality. We have also realized that study from home is also a reality. During a crisis like this, people have a peace of mind. When you are in your own house, you have a peace of mind. There is social security that you created an asset. So pre-COVID, people were like they didn't really bother about their savings. They were not too concerned about it. Buying a home also has a lot of other advantages. First is that you have income tax benefits, then you have appreciation. Today, interest rates have dropped, and these are actually continue. They are going to continue to drop. There are also advantages in actually renting. Okay, why people have rented or off late is because they have not seen the kind of appreciation that they have seen in the past. There's no guaranteed capital appreciation. And actually people don't want to lock in their money, or they don't want to commit on EMIs, or they like lesser commitments, flexibility, and actually lifestyle. But the disadvantage of actually rental is also there. You are losing your income. Instead of saving it and investing it in a home, you're actually it's like gone. Every month it's gone. But if you pay a EMI, you are actually saving it. So people are realizing that post COVID, that yes, I actually could have bought a home instead of a rent. I could have paid a EMI. I actually could have created a asset over time. So I actually think that still millennials will actually definitely like to rent for a lifestyle, but today they will definitely compensate that with the investment elsewhere, because this is a highly stable asset class. It does not fluctuate like the stock market. You actually don't see too much of variation like in commodities like oil, gold, and all of that. So this actually gives you a lot of stability. So today they are open to investing now in actually real estate post actually COVID.
Okay, no, with the reference to your perspective, it says buying, will be the best option rather than going of rental. Okay.
Yeah, definitely, yes.
Okay. Because not adding to your point, I'm seeing a lot of debates, in Facebook or some kind of things, or one set of people is saying why you have to commit yourself in buying in a property and committing yourself for 15 to 20 years. Rather, you go rent and live a asset free life or stress free life. Okay, where I keep posting my commands normally say, then where is the commitment in life? Okay, what we are
Right.
going to add value to our future. See,
Yes.
last generation earned or saved money and gave us acres of land bank actually. Okay, those who
Yes.
are today are who are crorepati's or something have huge land banks because their earlier generation has earned, saved, and gave that property to the next generation.
Very
Whereas
true.
if we think of not saving asset life, then that our next generation will be finding difficult to have asset one. And even if we go through economics also, say for example, if they pay, as you said, today if they pay anyone affordable homes, say we are into mostly affordable homes, so we
Right.
sell 40-45 lakhs an apartment,
Right.
where rental will be easily around 10 to 12,000 or 15,000 rupees. Okay, for buying in a 40 lakhs apartment, 45 lakhs, they has to some give 10 lakhs as a own contribution. Another 35 lakhs they will go for a loan. This 35 lakhs loan EMI will come around 28 to 30,000 rupees. whereas the only 10 to 12,000 rupees they're saving on the rental, the remaining 20,000 only they has to invest. On
Yes.
investing remaining 20,000 for a period of 15 years, they can create an asset value of 1 crore. At the end of 15th year, you will have a minimum at least asset value of 1 crore, whereas they are investing only 20,000. That too, say for example, EMI will not increase. EMI will stand at 30,000 rupees.
Yeah.
Whereas rental will after 2 years, 3 years, I think definitely will the rental component will
Yes.
increase. At
Correct.
one point of time, our rental and EMI will be equal, and they will acquire an asset actually.
Yes.
That has been actually misleading. Lot of some mathematics. Some guys is doing some mathematics and foolishly they're putting on the Facebook and promoting it actually. Okay. In fact,
Yeah.
I just know directly sometimes ask this question whether they doesn't have any property. Definitely they will own a property, but they give advice to others don't own or buy a property or buy in a property actually. I should
Right.
exactly say buying of a property at this millennial age will be, I think, as you said, it will be the best investment.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
thank
Very
you
true.
for reaffirming what I'm thinking. No, when you say that,
Right.
when you reaffirm it,
Right.
I think we are all both in same line. I think thank you, Amit, for this.
Right,
And
right. So,
see, for
you
example,
actually gave a breakdown of the calculation that 12,000 is the rent, and you have to pay just pay another 20,000 rupees more to create an asset. Yes, absolutely. So, people have actually begun to realize that. Yes.
thank you. Well, and what say as per according to you, what are best asset class you say? Whether we have a real estate or shares and all these things. Okay, what is a stable and safe asset class you see today, and
Okay.
where they have to invest?
Okay, so no, if you were to ask me as a first real estate investment, so I'm very clearly specifying first. Always a first real estate investment should be a home, because like I actually told you that the advantages is that you can get a rental income, you can get tax benefits, you can actually get loans at actually cheaper rates. So if you were to invest in any other form of real estate, interest rates are going to be high. You don't have tax benefits. So it obviously makes very clear sense straight away to invest in actually real estate. But you have to invest in real estate without an emotional. It should not be an emotional investment. Like earlier we always wanted to buy a home where we wanted to live in. But today you should buy a home where you see better appreciation, where you see better better amenities, where you see that the area around it is developing, and appreciation is going to happen. You don't need to necessarily live there. You could actually live in another home. You could rent out this home. You could use that rent to pay for your other home. So people have removed the emotional and lifestyle connection. Both are now completely separate. So millennials are very practical people. They would want to buy a 2 BHK and actually rent it out, but their lifestyle would be that I want to stay in a 3 BHK and actually enjoy it more. And also the investments today, if you make the right investment, rather than getting a 2% or a 2.5% or a 3% on your investment, you can even get yields of about 5 to 6% if you invest in the right property.
Okay, what kind of properties will give 5 to 6% of returns of in investing in real estate?
Right. So you need to look at alternate asset classes. Now there are so many asset classes that have actually come up now. Like for example, co-living. Then you have senior citizen homes. So you also have senior citizens who actually don't want to invest in a home. They have children who actually live abroad are actually willing to pay rents for those homes. And when an investor goes and buys that, he's actually assured of 5 to 6%. He's actually assured that the people staying there are actually going to be there more long term. There is a very nice community created around it. So you need to find these kind of communities, these kind of asset classes where capital value is low and your rental is higher.
So when you say different asset class, I can able to connect with our retirement homes actually.
Yes.
We were completed a project in Pollachi and we are going developing a project in Neman, where also we can see it's in a niche segment where we could be able to see, as you said, we can able to see around 5% of rental income in
Right.
retirement homes, because
Right.
it's an built, everything is in built with the services and all kind of things. So people pay that 5% of rental revenue, and we wonder almost 20 to 30% of buyers or investors for our retirement homes.
Right.
In Pollachi project, we after see we didn't able to track it initially. Well, after completion, when they come and occupy, only we come to know almost 20 to 30% are seeing this as an investment and looking for a rental revenue. Maybe they are at the age of 40. I think they want to come and settle there and 50, 55. Till that 10, 15 years, they want to
Absolutely.
keep rental revenue. and almost our Pollachi projects is around giving 5 to 6% rental returns.
Right,
As
right.
you said, like co-living, this will also be another
Of
asset
course,
class actually.
of course. So yeah, so interest rates have actually dropped to about 7% like no in between 7 and 8%. So if you're getting a 6% or a 5% over here, EMI is more of principal rather than interest. So you're actually compensating the interest there completely.
No, then say as you said, no, even I calculate 12,000 as a rental. As
Yes,
you said, a different asset class with 7%, 8%, definitely we can match almost 70% of EMI can be paid through the rental revenue.
exactly.
Okay, no, when it comes to a million, someone want to buy in a home, whether they want to buy a home for them or they should only look at investment. What is the first choice they should take? Whether they has to buy their for own
Right.
or they should focus on investment.
Right. So, if you look at Gen X, the generation which I belong to, who are born prior to 1980, Gen X will always be looking to buy a home for their own use. But if you look at Gen Y and Gen Z, which are the actual millennials, they are the people who are always looking to buy a home as an investment. So they keep the emotional part separate and the investment and the investment part separate. So they want to live in a place for their lifestyle and they want to invest for a return.
Okay, so what you advise even for Z and Y, Gen Y and Gen Z? Okay, this is a right call, or will you prefer to buy them for a first home or investment, which you suggest them?
See, it is it this actually completely varies. Now the post-COVID scenario is going to change everything. So pre-COVID scenario was all the Gen Ys and the Gen Zs, they were willing to move from place to place. So they were willing to travel across India wherever they get a better opportunity, growth in their career. They were actually willing to go. Now what's happening is that work from home has become a reality. All companies are now willing to adopt work from home. So with this change of work from home and actually education from home, people will always have a better security of being an end user. So you would rather buy a home which is a little larger, which you think that you have your comfort in. Now that you're not going to travel, now that moving to another city is actually not a must, because work from home is actually becoming a reality, like we are all saying. So with that kind of stability, the shift is going to move from investing versus lifestyle to investing in your lifestyle. So it will actually become one.
This is a very different thought process. I think then I think builders also should focus on giving only an asset residential. They have to understand the lifestyle of this Gen Y, Gen Z, and give the
Exactly.
amenities in the project. I think that will be in a win-win situation. We'll get.
Exactly right.
What are the hot locations you see today in around Chennai? Which location is a good location to invest if someone
So
is investing?
right. So see, while we generally pick a location, every area that in that particular location doesn't do well. So if I say Sri Perumbudur in general, there are pockets of Sri Perumbudur that have done well, pockets that have not done well. When you speak about OMR, it's the same thing. There are some areas on actually OMR which have seen a fabulous appreciation. So some have not seen an appreciation at all. So what is very, very important is that today with work from home, with actually internet connectivity, you don't need to look at walk to work. So the concept of walk to work is now gone. So you can travel a lot more. You can actually look well outside the city center. Uh, you have to look at places where you have schools and hospitals, because eventually education from home will actually come back to going to school, because discipline is inculcated at actually younger years. You can't have a school from home lifetime. Connectivity is very important. You should ideally select a location which has long-term potential, where you see that there is some development coming around it, infrastructure is coming, it has been planned. Look for gated communities where you have amenities. When you look for a home, look for space. Look for good clean maintenance rather than cost of maintenance. Look at a location where water and power is actually not too much of an issue. Power backup is required by actually millennials, especially when you work from home or you need power backup. That should be like a standard amenity. And the community has to be like-minded. So if you're at a certain age group, I would be looking at a community like where I can invest today, rent it out, and then go and retire there. So it depends for the Gen X, Gen Y, and actually Gen Z, that where they are. If they have to look at suitable community as well. So I don't specifically say invest in Sri Perumbudur, invest in OMR, invest in the right pockets. Everybody knows where to invest in. So that kind of advisory we give separately under our brand, Luxclusive Homes, where we meet customers, we understand their mindset, what is right for them. It is every customer is different. You actually don't have a one size fits all approach. So we have to address each one differently.
In terms of appreciation, there is a discussions, or there is a thought there. Since city, because city is reaches some saturation level in terms of
Yes.
appreciation, where it is this purely end user market. Someone have a business in city, I will buy and live here. Okay, and there is a good scope of appreciation in suburbans. What is the view about? What is your
So
view?
always the highest appreciation you will see in actually developing areas. Newer areas, because you buy very cheap, you always see a much higher appreciation. There's no doubt at all about that. But like I say, that there's a market for every area. It is actually not that everybody should only go to the outskirts. So Gen X, and actually prior to actually Gen X, will always be comfortable investing in the heart of the city. Gen Y and actually Gen Z is always willing to go outside the city. So the appreciation, of course, will be much better in actually far off areas, because as the infrastructure develops, the rates go up and you're buying very cheap today.
Okay, I just saw your profile. Now you were just talking about some warehouse.in actually.
Right.
I think you are an expert in warehousing, I think acquisition and all these things. What is the potential for warehousing in Chennai? Okay, if there's a good potential, that means there are a lot of industries, or there are a lot of businesses going to happen here. If so, what is the impact on the real estate?
Okay, so first things first. See, we have three separate companies. They are actually separate brands. Each brand handles a vertical. So the setup is exclusive. Like for example, Chatters Realty handles commercial real estate. We have a separate team for commercial real estate. It's a separate brand, separate setup. Then we have Luxclusive Homes, which is into high-end resi. So customers are treated like royalty. They are actually picked up in a BMW car, shown sites, taken for good lunch and drop back. Obviously, no actually free lunches today because of COVID. And of course, what you're talking about is allwarehouses.in. So we have over 1,500 properties of Chennai on allwarehouses.in. We close a transaction every week. So we are in depth of the market. So we understand which areas the demand for warehousing is there, and those are the areas that we concentrate more for land transaction, because eventually when the supply is exhausted, demand picks in. So the areas that we see in warehousing, Madavaram Red Hills is doing extremely well. Vorugadam was dominated earlier by auto and auto ancillaries, but yes, there are a lot of other companies coming into Vorugadam. Sriperumbudur has always been in demand, but we are seeing from the 3PL, pharma and FMCG companies, the demand has picked up closer to city. So the fringe of the 200 feet road, like if you're talking about Tambaram, Pallavaram, some people are also asking us for distribution centers in Gindi and Vyasarpadi. So the 100 feet road and the 200 feet road, in the fringes of that, there is a lot of demand today. We have demand for about sizes of 30,000 to 50,000 square feet around Madurai, but we don't have supply at all. So like I said, 3PL, FMCG and pharma are the demand drivers. Agri is now boosting the economy. So I do not know whether you've been watching the news, whether everybody is aware. Agriculture has seen the highest growth this year in actually history. So cold storages will pick up. Agri warehouses will actually be the next big boom.
Okay, no. If there is a demand is picked up, it shows there is a lot of industries, new industries going to come, or no, it is as a symptom of kind of new development or new factories, or will be their expansion of the existing things is going to happen in another 1 or 2 years.
Right. So no, I just spoke in terms of warehousing, since you mentioned warehousing, but when you speak about industrial real estate, factories and actually industries, yes, Make in India is actually going to pick up now. The supply chains of the world are going to be altered. There is a lot of demand for manufacturing. You'll be surprised that we did a very large deal for an auto company where our revenue is about 12 lakh rupees. We did it just about last month. Everyone says auto is down. It's actually going to take time to pick up, but we're seeing a lot of investment in auto again picking, even though the sales are not doing well. Make in India, especially for batteries and electronic chips, is going to grow very fast, and it's going to be followed by pharma. Yeah, so the dependence on China is actually definitely going to reduce. There is these prime industries are actually going to be making in India.
So these new companies, as you said, agriculture, cold storage. I think there's a cold storage will be again a real estate requirement will be there, and as you said, pharma industries and FMCG. Because of this, what will be the positive impact on the real estate in Chennai?
See, basically, first things first is employment generation. Now, when you have factories, you actually have blue collar workers coming in. Now, they can be replaced to a certain extent by equipment and by technology, but they can't be replaced as work from home. So there is, when you create employment first, that's when people begin to migrate into a city, and with migration comes demand. So only when people come into a city, that's when you see demand increasing, and actually people buying real estate. So cold storage is not going to increase demand very sharply, but Make in India will do.
Okay.
There are a lot of MOUs being signed as well. If you've been reading the newspapers, a lot of MOUs being signed for Make in India. Yes.
Yeah, I think second Tamil Nadu is on second place to attract a lot of investments for the last 3 months. Actually, overall India, Tamil Nadu is the second place, which is had acquired a huge investment. A lot of MOUs has been signed, and also keep reading on papers.
Yes.
Post COVID, how the market will be, how you handle and how sales is happening from your end.
Okay, so earlier people used to travel a lot, so they they basically had a concept known as no boundary investment. People invested everywhere. Somebody working in Chennai would like to invest in Bangalore. Somebody working in Bangalore would invest in Bombay, because wherever they saw better returns, people invested. Today we are seeing a reverse. People want to invest in their hometowns. So when people come back, when they realize that work from home is a reality, people who migrated to Chennai from an example, say Nellore or from a Pondicherry, they are used to a certain lifestyle. They are actually willing to go back to their hometowns, invest over there, get a better home. These are all end users. Now, none of this also brings back a lot of people to actually Chennai as well, because a lot of Chennai people have actually moved out. They have actually moved internationally. They have moved nationally. As they come back here, there is going to be a demand in actually every city. So this is going to be the first change. Okay. Second thing, this is very important. Temporarily, there has been a lot of indecisiveness, because people are not sure about what's going to happen. Whether people are going to have a job cut, whether they're going to lose their salaries, or they're going to have a salary cut. So people have actually put their property purchase on hold. Also, because to understand whether work from home is a permanent thing or is it a long term thing. So with work from home and study from home becoming more longer term, people are waiting to see whether I should buy a bigger home. So the days of micro units are actually not there today. People are actually looking for bigger homes. Micro units will do well. They will do well in the heart of the city. Somebody who cannot afford wants to stay in a particular location, he'll buy a micro unit because of the budget. But people are willing to look at bigger homes. People will look at an extra room for their work at home. If you have a child, and if you are also working from home, and you have somebody who has to clean up the home, all of that cannot happen at the same time. So we are also seeing my social media accounts are handled by a company. I can also name them. They're called Social Beat. They have more than 200 plus employees. They are seeing a very sharp productivity increase in work from home, because there are fewer distractions. But all of these people are saying that yes, we are giving you productivity increase for that 7-8 hours, but beyond that, it actually becomes highly challenging. So everyone is actually looking for a bigger space and a better space. This can't continue in the same space for too long. So that's the change post COVID.
Okay, if wanted the bigger space, if they have a budget constraint, will they move little away from the city, or no? What kind of?
Definitely. So if you have a budget constraint, obviously you have to go to an area which is more affordable. So you will not want to be in the city. You may want to sell your smaller home in the city and actually go to a larger home a little bit away. That's going to happen.
So we will have our Chennai horizontal development, I think. We'll have
very true. Very true.
Hey friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Facebook for regular updates.